another time. Okay. I am going to call the meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Riverwoods. Please stand with me and say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Thank you. Roll call, please. Present.
Here. 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 Here.
Thank you. First order of business is approval of the minutes of the Board of Trustees meeting for July 1. Do I have a motion, please? Is there a second, please?
Second.
Are there any comments or questions on our minutes? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Thank you. The minutes are approved. Finance Director's report. We'll start with the approval of the bills. Do I have a motion for the approval of the bills, please?
So moved.
Is there a second, please? Are there any questions? Comments? Roll call, please.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Trustee Smith?
Aye.
Trustee Trevino? Aye. Motion carried.
Thank you. Director Vasquez, we have our presentation of our second quarter financial report.
Thank you, Mayor. Presented tonight are the unaudited financials for the second quarter of 2025. Starting with the general fund, looking at revenues, we are overall trending ahead of our budgeted target for the year with over 61% of budgeted revenue received at the halfway point. This looks much better than last quarter now that property taxes have started to come in for the year. For example, last quarter, police had only been at 7% of their budgeted revenue, and now they are right on pace with 50% received for the year. Of particular note, home rule and municipal sales taxes, state income taxes, electric and gas utility taxes, and municipal fuel taxes are trending at 50% or higher for the halfway point of the year. In fact, both home rule and municipal sales taxes are currently exceeding 70% of budget at this point in the year. Revenues in the general fund are overall at 63% for being halfway through the year. This is mostly due to the strong performance of sales tax, as well as matured bond that was received earlier this year. The other outlier I'd like to address here is that the building department shows 104% of budgeted revenue. However, that includes $170,000 being held as security deposits for various projects. Backing that out, that department is closer to 40% of budgeted revenue for this point in the year. Expenditures in the general fund halfway through the year are at 36% of budget compared to 42% at the same time last year. We budget conservatively to help plan for possible needs throughout the year, so it is to be expected that we trend below 50% for expenses. And the general fund is now showing a $1 million surplus at the end of the second quarter, as opposed to the $217,000 surplus at the end of the first quarter. The largest factors for the surplus are the sales tax performance, the $170,000 of security deposits, and the $250,000 matured bond received earlier this year. Without the security deposits or matured bond factored in, general fund revenue would be at 52% of budget at this point in the year, and the surplus would be closer to $590,000. Over in the MFT fund, MFT revenues are trending right on target at 50% through the second quarter. Expenditures are at 0% for the year. However, we have a large budget for MFT expenditures in 2025 with the anticipated work for the Saunders Road project that will begin later this year. For 2025, all MFT expenditures were related to that project. Over in the water fund, revenues are at 35% of the annual budget amount. At this point last year, the water fund revenue was only at 39% of the budgeted amount, and we still finished the year at 110% of budgeted revenues. The warmer months bring more water usage, and because we only bill residents quarterly, we should see that number trend up by the time we bring the third quarter financials. Expenditures are at 18% at this point in the year. However, it should be noted that a significant part of the budgeted expenses comes from purchasing our water from Northbrook, and those monthly charges start to spike in July through October bills. We also had a credit for water-related engineering expenses, which has kept those expenses lower through the first half of the year. And we are saving money on water main repairs by utilizing our IGA with Lake County for repair work that's related to that line item. As a reminder, coming into 2025, the water fund was about 800,000 below the target fund balance of 2 million. There were significant capital expenses in the water fund last year. At our upcoming committee of the whole meeting, I plan to discuss our water rates as one way to get closer to our target fund balance. Over in the sewer fund, revenues are at 67% of the budgeted amount for the year. Expenditures are low at this point in the year at only 13% of what we budgeted. Much of the work related to the sewer fund will happen later in the year, including capital projects. The sewer fund remains in a position exceeding the fund balance target. However, I plan to discuss the 10-year capital needs in the sewer system with GHA ahead of our finance workshop in the fall. There are lift station replacement needs that need to be factored in, as well as a $1 million capital project that had been discussed for 2029. Over in the capital fund, revenue for the capital fund is based on a transfer from the general fund as well as grant revenue, neither of which have happened at this point in the year. Expenditures are at 4% of the annual budgeted amount. Most of the budgeted expenses for the 2025 capital budget are related to the Saunders Road project, which has not yet started. It should be noted that we budgeted a high expenditure scenario for our capital fund, so all projects may not ultimately be approved to happen in 25. In 2024, $2 million was transferred from the general fund to the capital fund for anticipated capital needs over the next 5 years. In 2025, we have once again budgeted a $2 million transfer to the capital fund. As we approach our fall finance workshop, we will have a better idea of capital expenditures that are expected to happen during 2025, as well as an update on our anticipated capital needs in the 5-year plan. We can then determine the appropriate amount to transfer. And finally, in the cash report, the main item to note is the $1 million increase from last quarter, which is mostly due to revenue activity in the general fund. During the quarter, we received nearly $600,000 in property tax revenue, in addition to the strong performance of the various general fund taxes I mentioned earlier. Also of note is that in the TIF number 2 fund, we saw a decrease in its standing, and that's due to the expenses related to the demolition of the Federal Life building that's located in that TIF. And that's it for my report tonight.
Do we have any questions for our director? Trustee Clayton, please.
In terms of the sales tax revenue, just talking about it generally, is there a particular sector that is strongest? Are we getting it more from food-oriented things or retail-oriented things? Where's the sales tax coming from?
So I had requested the confidential sales tax reports, and they usually take a couple of days to come in. So when they come in, I'll be looking to see if it's kind of across the board increase or if it's kind of targeted to certain performers.
Are there any other questions for our director? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Next item of business is the treasurer's report. It's not with us this evening. Director of Community Services report. Director Witt, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few things, pretty much all road related. The road program, crack filling, started today, probably be done tomorrow. You may have noticed that Port Wine Road has been completed full length. Village Hall was also completed this morning on both sides. We look to next see seal coating done at both parking lots here. They will be staggered. We're going to try to do that to avoid any conflict with any events that are occurring. After that's done, we'll get the striping redone so that they'll be compliant for a change with the accessibility codes. And then Port Wine Road will be restriped the entire length with the double yellow as well as the white lines. As far as Saunders Road, we are fielding quite a few complaints with regard to the cut where we did the water main repair for the leak that we found near 1661, 1663. We understand and we have heard all of those complaints. GHA has been asked to look at that on a regular basis, as well as the police department is monitoring that on a daily basis and letting us know when we need to fill. So we are not working with a deaf ear to complaints. It's just that it is continuing to settle. Once we get to a point where that line is replaced, which is my next topic, that will get backfilled with a flowable fill. Essentially, it's a low slump concrete fill for the most of it. That will prevent any settlement of that excavation once done, so that we won't have any kind of divot in the road once Saunders Road is completed. As far as that project goes, GHA is working on the drawings. They have submitted for IEPA permit. We should be having a drawing review tomorrow and be going out for bids shortly for that project and be bringing that to the village board for an approval for a contractor. So we want to get that work done within the next several months, certainly before the new contractor comes along and starts work on Saunders Road. But to that end, I do not have a pre-construction meeting established yet. The village engineer was out of town for about 10 days, so we're just trying to play catch up with her schedule as well to get that scheduled. This should happen within the next week. And after we do that, we'll be able to update the village website with some fresh information on the course of that project. But that's all I have.
Are there any questions for our director? Thank you. Next order of business is a consultant's report. Our attorney's report, please.
I don't have anything for tonight. Well, I work on a lot of
Good. Okay.
questions that
moving on.
come to me, but you're not interested in them.
Fine. Plan Commission report, please, Chairman Brightcoff. Gotta laugh,
Good evening. The Plan Commission met on July the 10th. We opened the hearing requested by Orphans of the Storm for a special use for a proposed redeveloped animal shelter. Orphans made a presentation and the commission reviewed the standards for granting a special use with respect to the application. Due to the late hour, we continued the hearing to August 7th for updates, discussion of the staff review committee report, and the Plan Commission's discussion and recommendation. That's it.
Are there any questions for our chair? Thank you. The Zoning Board of Appeals, Chair Graditor, please.
I'm being spoiled. It's lovely. The ZBA will be meeting on the 17th. We will be continuing our discussion as to signage in the commercial areas and the two sets of standards that we're trying to balance and the enforcement that has to be made of blatant violations of our existing standards. So we will continue that discussion on the 17th and try to get to, and I don't know if we'll be able to do it in one more night, try to get to some kind of a resolution as to what we need to enforce and how we make it enforceable. That's it. Questions, anyone?
Any questions for our chair? Thank you very much. Police report, our chief is not in. He has been on sick leave and he's doing light duty. If Commander shows up, we'll have him give a report when he shows up. If he doesn't near the end of the meeting, I will give you a brief synopsis of what our chief would tell you. Okay, the fire district report. Actually, we are meeting with the fire district this coming Thursday morning to go over some accounting with on the Federal Life property. And that would be his report. He's not here either. Okay, information and items and comments from the president. The first thing that I would like to report back on is that we do not have a representative on the South Lake Mosquito Abatement Board. Thought we did. But there were two other residents of Highland Park that were seated at this past meeting yesterday night. Trustee Eastman was there with our candidate, Sarah Merritt, as was Chair Hart, as was the executive director of the North Shore Mosquito Abatement District. So we are very concerned about the future of our South Lake Mosquito Abatement District. And right now, the best we can do is continue to go to those meetings, try to stay abreast, and frankly, work on a Plan B. The Plan B means if the district did not exist, how would we go about mosquito control in Riverwoods? Do we contract directly with Clark, who does the South Lake mosquito work at this point? Or do we think about an intergovernmental agreement with the North Shore Mosquito Abatement District? So those are various options we are researching and taking a look at. The option of going it alone is really Clark in order to have the proper services, meaning larvicide and adult mosquito control, testing, and traps. Traps determine when they spray. So many adult mosquitoes in a trap, you have to have more than 50, I think it was. If I'm not, yeah, okay, Andy's correct, saying I'm correct. Then that keys a spraying. So we have not had over 50 in the area, which is kind of interesting because there are residents who feel that they've had 50 like right there on their arm, you know. So at any rate, this is very concerning. If you look at your tax bill, I look at my tax bill and I actually keep it at my desk, so I know what's going on here. But we pay roughly $25 a year to the South Lake Mosquito Abatement District for all the work that they do. And I will tell you that we are able to, for example, the event this weekend on the grounds, Clark will be doing a spray for us. So that's part of the deal. If you have community events, they're happy to come out and do that. But meanwhile, they've got traps in Riverwoods. They check those traps. They have people on bicycles going around putting larvicide in the drains and so forth. So I'm very concerned about it because if you start doing the math, that's only about $30,000 a year. If you take roughly 1,200 times $25 or so, even $30. The estimates have, just ballpark run anywhere from 50 to 100,000 and maybe more, depending on the mosquitoes, depending on the brood of mosquitoes. If we have a lot of mosquitoes, there's more work and that costs more. If we have a year where there's a drought, we have fewer and it's less. So mosquitoes are hard to budget for is what I'm really getting at, but it isn't $30,000 either. So it would make a difference to us. So we're trying to follow that very closely. Andy has also been Trustee Eastman has always maintained contact with our representative on the county board. And so, we're going to keep on it, do some research, make sure we're not caught flat-footed here, and see what we can figure out on a Plan B. And hopefully it doesn't come to that, but we certainly can't overlook what we're hearing. So that would be in.
Mayor, may I
Yes,
ask a
yes.
question?
Trustee Clayton.
Thank you.
Yeah.
To me, this is, and I'm sure to you too, it's a health and safety issue.
Yes.
And we've been pursuing this, I guess is the best way of saying it, for a considerable amount of time at this point, an effort by a lot of different people.
Mhm.
It seems to me that an expenditure of $75,000 a year versus $30,000 a year is totally called for under these circumstances. And instead of continuing to try to pursue this, what looks like a never-ending battle, maybe it's time to just say, I don't know how easy it is to withdraw from a taxing district. That would be an interesting
don't
question.
know. There are arguments for maintaining or being a part of a district as opposed to going it on your own. There are a lot of municipalities in Lake County that go it alone. They have public works departments, Lincolnshire, for example, Lake Bluff, Lake Forest. And what they refer to, what the districts refer to it is fractional approaches to the larger problem. And that may not be the best result health-wise. There needs to be a lot of coordination and sharing of information, particularly when it comes to West Nile and other diseases, that it's a vector disease. And you are absolutely right. This is a serious health issue. And the district right now, as it operates, has really kept our numbers low. And fractionalizing it, it's hard to say what would happen. What they really what we heard at last night's meeting was sometimes that generates more individuals bombing their properties. And the kinds of repellents and the kinds of insecticides that are used by those individuals sometimes are not the very best for the environment, the pollinators, and so forth. So there are a lot of competing thoughts here. And if we get down the road further, I would like to have not only George Ballas, who is our representative at Clark and does attend our community events, make a presentation and talk about it. So we have a better idea of what we are really getting into. We might also invite Dr. Mark Clifton, who is the executive director of the North Shore Mosquito Abatement District. So again, and Trustee Raff, you have a comment? Yes.
Just a question. Are we contiguous with the North Shore Abatement District?
No, we are not. Yeah, Trustee Smith, please.
So I guess my question is based on Highland Park getting a few more seats at South Lake, or another seat, total of 4, that implies that we believe that Highland Park wants to disband it. I just want to make sure that I'm connecting the dots, because I don't believe you said that. I'm just wondering, I know in the past we've expressed concern that one or a few of the Highland Park people wanted to disband. I'm just wondering, do we still believe, based on the new seats that have been taken, so to speak, is that, do we believe?
Here we, here's.
Trustee Eastman and Mayor Ford, do we believe that is becoming more inevitable? Or I'm just trying to get a sense of
where it's coming from.
Crystal ball saying where this is going.
Where this is coming from is the chairman of the Lake County Board, Chair Sandy Hart. She has been most vocal about disbanding all non-essential government entities. And she has had the South Lake Mosquito Abatement District, frankly, in her crosshairs. And this began 2 or 3 years ago when she removed, no one resigned, she removed 4 of the 5 trustees, the 5th being Roger Simonson. Roger resigned due to health reasons, and instead of reappointing a Riverwoods resident, she appointed someone from another area. And there were 3 Highland Park and 2 Deerfield. Now there's no one from Bannockburn. Bannockburn is on the, is one of the 5. And these recent appointments have in the past voiced similar opposition to smaller government entities, if you will. Keep in mind that this government entity is really, no one gets paid, there are no employees, and it is strictly a coordination kind of thing. It is a taxing body, and we do not have a representation on a taxing body. I addressed the county board on that issue when there was an opening. And again, it's Chair Hart has gone from thinking that Clark is spraying poison in the air to wanting to eliminate non-essential government entities to a variety of other reasons that are frankly can be easily refuted. But here we are. And it is a political action. It is not, it has now bearing on cost because there is no cost involved here. Trustee Eastman, please.
I just add one bit of color for that for Trustee Smith. What's interesting is despite the, overweighting of Highland Park representation, as we've gone through, about 1.5 years of iteration in different board members, as they understand what the mosquito abatement district actually does and how efficient it is, they seem to be not willing to perhaps perform what they were initially, intended to do when they got on the board, which is what makes it rather interesting and ironic. But I think it also lends that once people have a better understanding, like Mayor Ford was saying, if you understand from what the North Shore District does, as well as, what George does, once you understand it, you start to see that it actually is a pretty efficient government entity. And at least from my perspective, it's the wrong target to, put in the crosshairs of a good governance. Let's shut down these bodies for efficiency purposes. It actually really does operate pretty efficiently. And they have done those benchmarks over the past year or so. So it's good for the taxpayers.
Yeah. So we'll keep you informed. Oh, Trustee Clayton, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Sorry. Taking your comment about fractionalization and so on, would it make sense to open up a conversation with Bannockburn about what they want to do?
There was conversation, I've had a conversation with the village manager of Deerfield, and I did have a quick conversation with the village manager at Bannockburn. Replacing the board with an IGA. Now, how do you manage the IGA? So you would be replacing one board with another, and the IGA does not have a taxing ability. So then there's the sharing of expense. So while it could be done, it's probably not the most effective, most efficient way of doing those things. The coordination with the Lake County Health Department is also very important. So there are a lot of moving parts here, and we just need to be prepared, and we need to stay on top of it. So we'll keep attending the meetings. I mean, seriously, they open with public comment. They might as well say Chris Ford instead of public comment. I mean, it's like, hi, I'm here again, and what are you doing? But Andy's absolutely right. As we've gone through this together, it's one of those, they come in, people come in with your spraying poison, and they leave with, oh my God, we need to expand the district. I mean, it's like 180 degrees flip. So if it doesn't have, it's going to be interesting, let's say that to the least. If the chair decides that she wants to dissolve it, the law allows that. However, if that happens, there is something called a backdoor referendum that if that road comes, we will be out here asking to go through the backdoor referendum process, because I think it's important to us. I think that as a smaller municipality, and frankly, I think we'd have enough votes for not even asking any of our other agencies, other municipalities. So there are moving parts. There are moving parts, but understand that we're approaching this as a health reason, as a health and safety issue. And it is important. Yes, Trustee Smith, please.
So Mayor, for just one more kind of follow-up question. So it sounds like this is the initiative of the chair, or the idea of the chair. It sounds like the board has kind of switched from being kind of aligning with the chair to being against the chair, or voting. The 180 degree that you described.
Yeah.
So my question to you was, can the chair dissolve it kind of at will, or does it need the vote of the trustees to align? Or so, because if the trustees are kind of aligning with what Riverwoods wants, or by all the communities, not just Riverwoods, I'm wondering, can the chair really dissolve it?
Got two boards going on here. You've got the Lake County Board that she's the chair of, and then you've got the board of the South Lake Mosquito Abatement District. And it would seem to me that if the chair of the county board wanted to dissolve it, she would need the votes of the commissioners of Lake County that sit on the Lake County Board. I don't believe that the South Lake Mosquito Abatement District itself can dissolve itself. It's a taxing body and it was given, yeah, it's a taxing body that was given authority under the, so there are some steps here. But it's, again, it's a sad tale and it's probably the biggest bang for your tax buck you get, right? For $25 a year, right? I mean, do you even notice it? So at any rate, and frankly, Chief living in Deerfield, I had him look at his tax bill and his is even lower. So, and that's because the volume. So we'll keep you informed and we'll stay with it. And I'll tell you, Sarah Merritt has made a wonderful impression. And if there are more board members who resign on the mosquito abatement district, she's still a candidate, and I think she made a very favorable impression. And she sat with us. She came to the meeting with us the other night. So just a little FYI. Last thing I'd like to say is that the Stormwater Management Committee is meeting again, and we're going to try to move forward with something, an ecological approach to stormwater management in the village. So we'll be discussing that at that committee meeting coming up before the end of the month. So we want to get that in process again, stormwater and mosquitoes and just all those nice things go together. Anyway, just an FYI for you. Visitors wishing to address the board. Catherine, Russ, anything? Okay, moving on. New business. First item of new business, approval of a change order in the amount of $27,800 to Chicago Paving Contractors for restriping of Port Wine Road and pavement improvements at the police station. Trustee Witt, please. No. Director Witt. Sorry. What do you want to be?
I'll take the promotion. All right, so the change order that we have in front of us, I was approached by Chief Dano. I was not aware at the time that the police department, no different than Village Hall, had not been ever seal coated since its inception. And it's certainly well overdue. Typically, pavements like parking lots are seal coated within 2 to 3 years max of the time that they're first installed. And I know here at Village Hall, we're probably 7, 8 years, I think, something like that. So our work is overdue and certainly at the police department overdue. So he asked if we could try to incorporate that into this project. The cost of all of this is done by unit price. So having to rebid it would not have really resulted with any other change other than a small amount of scope of work. But the two bids were far enough apart that there would not have been a chance that the second bidder would have come in low. Additionally, with the work that's being done for the crack control on Port Wine Road, the concern is that some of the tar material that is put down there is covering up the double yellow line. So we wanted to get the Port Wine Road restriped with a double yellow down the center. And we were asked to look at doing the sides as well. So we would get a white stripe on each side. Those stripes are severely deteriorated in many spots. And we feel that it would be a market improvement for safety. The contractor that's been doing the work has been doing a stellar job. The same contractor that did all the paving work on Riverwoods Road for the county. So I think we have a quality contractor out here, and we would like to have the board consider an approval of a change order in the amount of $27,800 to Chicago Paving Contractors, Inc. to restripe Port Wine Road and do the pavement improvements at the police station.
Is there a motion for approval, please?
So moved.
Is there a second? Are there any questions for our director? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Smal?
Aye.
Aye.
Trustee Trujillo?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next order of new business is an ordinance amending provisions of the village code concerning ecological cost share programs to expand participation to certain areas commonly held by associations. This is an expansion that has been requested in part, and there are two large areas in the village. One is certainly Thorngate has been requesting an expansion to look at their properties, and the famous lot number 1 in Vernon Woods. And so we asked for a cost estimate from our village ecologist, and the cost was not certainly was not substantial, largely because a lot of the Thorngate properties have been well taken care of. And there is a equivalent. And 4 acres, meaning equals 1 parcel. And so we're adding really, I think in total, maybe 8 parcels to the cost share program as it exists today. So that's a little history behind it. If the village attorney would like to add to that, make sure I've
That was a great
stated sentence.
summary. All I will say is that I have reviewed this language with our village ecologist, with Steve Zimmerman, gotten some comments and suggestions from him in terms of the wording. But other than that, I think the only areas that we know of in the village where there's common area maintained for a number of owners, but that includes areas that would be, usefully helped by the cost share programs are the Thorngate Conservancy areas, Lot 1 over in Vernon Woods. And, I can't really think of that many other community areas. Meadow Lake has a couple of entryway features, possibly, but I'm just not really, as we scratched our heads. So this was really intended to allow the properties in the village that have significant areas of these kind of properties to benefit from the cost share program.
Is there a motion to waive first reading?
So moved.
Is there a second? It's an order. All in favor of waiving first reading?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Is there a motion for second reading and approval, please?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any further discussion? Trustee Raff?
Yes, just a question in regards to, over time, will there be opportunities to request the village ecologist to re-examine various areas at the cost of the HOA to possibly expand areas that are necessary? Or that would be requested?
I think the village ecologist is always in favor of expanding areas that are, potential for ecological restoration. And one of Steve's changes here was to make the eligibility dependent upon completing an ecological consultation with the village ecologist. And I think the reason for that is to be able to ascertain what's out there. And I'm sure we can always arrange for a consultation so that we can see what's out there, what could be expanded, what could be enhanced. I mean, that should be our ongoing project in the village.
Are there any other questions? Any other discussion? Trustee Clayton? I thought you were reaching for the. Oh. Seeing no further discussion or questions, roll call, please.
Aye.
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 Thank you. I know, Catherine, right?
So we have an ordinance number?
Okay, next order of business, board comments. Oops. Okay, board comments. Anything trustees wish to bring to the meeting? Trustee Smith, please.
Yeah, I know this isn't my meeting to speak about sustainability and community services, but I did have just a couple of quick updates. Sustainability plan is going to be reviewed again with the consultants, I think, a week or 9 days on the 24th or something.
24th, I
So
think, yeah.
that's continuing to move ahead. And the other thing I did want to share with the Board of Trustees and obviously the village was that as we relate to the annexation of the sale barn property, the Sustainability Task Force did provide some comments and suggestions to make that property as sustainable and as environmentally friendly or environmentally not unfriendly as possible. So it's more just, we just want to make sure that we're staying on top of these things. And I think that's pretty much it. Oh, and game days have been canceled.
Any questions? Yeah. Residents' Day, coming up this weekend. The garage sales in the morning and Residents' Day, the RRA is in the afternoon. We've been working through, the vendors getting everything in place and so on. The weather is not cooperating or may cooperate. What we're hoping is that we have some clear sense of what's on and what's off by Thursday afternoon. We would like very much to have it move forward, but if it rains or if there is a very high likelihood of a rain or a thunderstorm, probably not the best environment to have a band out in the shelter and inflatables for the kids. Or a food truck, for that matter. So we're kind of keeping fingers crossed and moving forward. But Thursday afternoon, I think that might be the call. And you do the best you can, and then we'll just simply reschedule. So are there any questions on that? It's going to be tough. The garage sale is inside, so, come to the garage sale.
Just as just additional context on that, the inflatables company in their documents and explained to us that if there's a greater than 50% chance of rain, they don't advise even scheduling it. You have a right to cancel like early that morning when they don't show up, but basically they can't operate in the rain. So we're looking at the weather forecast. Who knows what it's going to be? But right now it's showing a high percentage of rain, during that time interval. It could change a lot between now and then, but it's a $2,500 rental, but you don't really want to incur if you're not going to go for it.
So fingers crossed, and we'll see what happens. Live in Chicago, wait a day, the weather change, right? No reason to go into it. Did I cut off anybody else? Anybody else comment? Okay. No reason to go into executive session. The next date and time for our meeting, we will have a committee of the whole on August 5th at 6:30 prior to our meeting on August 5th, board meeting at 7:30. Do I have a motion for adjournment, please?
So moved.
Oh, wait, time. Okay, our commander has not been here, and I know there are questions about, and he wanted you to know that in his police report, there was a home invasion in Riverwoods, and there were shots fired, and the perpetrator is in the hospital, and that's why we're a little thin-staffed, because we need to guard him while he is in the hospital, and once he gets out, he will be charged. So there will be a press release. But our residents are safe. The perpetrator's been caught, and none of our officers were injured as well. So it's just stretching us right now, which is why the commander is not here. We've got round the clock guarding of this particular person. So and Chief is on light duty. He wasn't able to be with us here tonight. So if the commander wasn't here, as I told you, we would let you know. So everybody is safe. Riverwoods is locked down. We got the guy. But you should know. So do you have any questions on that? I suppose the right place to ask those questions would be the chief, and he will be able to answer an email if you choose to do that. So with that, is there a motion for adjournment, please?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Good night, Russ. Good night, Catherine. What was it? Not 38 minutes, right? Okay.
42.
Close enough for government work, is that it?